Qui-Gon Jinn was arguably the only Jedi capable of uncovering the monstrous plans of Palpatine to seize power in the galaxy. This is not only about his plans concerning Anakin Skywalker, but also about creating conditions that led to the beginning of the Clone Wars. Gradually, comics and novels shed light on the mysterious Qui-Gon, showing him to be an extraordinary and sometimes rebellious figure. It's no secret that there was some tension between him and the Jedi Council, as Qui-Gon believed that the Jedi had compromised themselves with politics. In the book Queen's Peril by Emily Kate Johnston, which tells the story of Padme Amidala right after her coronation, there is a moment where Qui-Gon insists that he and his Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi be allowed to review the tax legislation being considered by the Republic Senate. These bills were part of a plan by Darth Sidious, hiding behind the guise of Senator Sheev Palpatine, and were intended to provoke an invasion by the Trade Federation on Naboo, as well as his rise to the post of Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. It seems Qui-Gon sensed something strange about them, and he and Obi-Wan wanted to study every detail to figure it out. Now it becomes clear why Qui-Gon was the Jedi sent to Naboo during the invasion by the Trade Federation. He was already familiar with the relevant issues. Had he managed to unravel this Gordian knot and warn the Republic before his tragic death, all of Palpatine's plans would have been thwarted, and he would have been forced into the shadows, stripped of all power and influence, all thanks to one person who could see what others could not. Unlike most Jedi, Qui-Gon did not revere the Republic. He recognized its flaws, believing it too often compromised and failed to uphold the rights of its subject. And worse for Palpatine, Qui-Gon openly criticized the Republic. For example, one of the main evils that existed beyond the Republic was slavery. However, the Senate simply turned a blind eye to this disgraceful phenomenon and did not even attempt to eradicate it. Some planets had never operated under any other labor system. Of course, Qui-Gon understood that the power of the Republic ended at its borders, but its influence did not. And if there was a will, this could be used to assist the enslaved from neighboring worlds. Why then did this never happen? Furthermore, instances of slavery, despite its prohibition, were sometimes found within the Republic itself. In the novel Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray, Qui-Gon was asked an uncomfortable question. If the Republic is incapable of such a simple and just action as fighting slavery, then what purpose does it serve at all? In the dialogue, he lacked a satisfactory response. However, he was actively taking measures to liberate the enslaved himself. Qui-Gon also fully understood that the Republic paid excessive attention to the core worlds and propelled the Jedi to equally consider all systems, including the remote ones. Ultimately, the political and economic disparities thriving under the Republic became one of the driving forces behind the separatist movement. Qui-Gon could have been a powerful and respected individual, preventing worlds from joining the Separatists and instead persuading them to reform the Republic. But, as we know, this destiny was not to be fulfilled, as he perished on Naboo during a duel with Darth Maul. Qui-Gon's death significantly eased Palpatine's implementation of his further plans, as the Jedi Order lost the only person capable of critical thinking, while the rest of the Jedi were overly confident and sometimes even arrogant. Most of them dismissed anything that could challenge their wisdom. For example, when they learned that the Sith had influence over the Senate, they thought it impossible, as they would surely have deduced this themselves. They were too self-absorbed and adherent to the Jedi Code, too confident in their own abilities, unwilling to listen to anyone with views different from those widely accepted in the Order. We saw this time and again with Ahsoka, Dooku, and Anakin. Thus, they didn't question Palpatine until it was too late. Eventually, this led to the downfall of the Jedi Order. Qui-Gon was different. He consistently questioned the Order, which often got him into trouble with the Council. He followed the Jedi Code, but not at the expense of what he believed to be right. Qui-Gon seemed to be an exceptionally sensitive Jedi, possessing wisdom that potentially could have surpassed even Master Yoda. He listened not only to people, but to the Force, not attempting to mend it to his will, but allowing it to flow through him. After his death in the duel with Darth Maul at the end of the first episode, his influence persisted. Qui-Gon became the first among the Jedi Masters known to us who learned how to preserve his consciousness after death. As Dave Filoni explained, the duel between Maul and Qui-Gon was indeed a duel of fate. The fate of Anakin Skywalker hinged on the outcome of this battle. Had Qui-Gon survived, it's likely that Anakin would never have turned to the dark side, as he would have respected his mentor's teachings. At that point, he hardly needed someone like Obi-Wan, whom he saw more as a brother than a teacher. However, Qui-Gon would have been something of a father figure, which Anakin never had in life, and would undoubtedly have held greater authority in the boy's eyes. Still, the result of the duel on Naboo can hardly be considered mere luck on Palpatine's behalf. Indeed, all prophecies, including those predicting the fall of the Jedi Order, should represent the will of the Force, as the Force itself actively works towards achieving balance. Thus, Qui-Gon's death was not just an unfortunate incident, it was part of a pattern. Qui-Gon Jinn alone could recognize the Chosen One because he was the only Jedi who had studied the prophecies and believed that the predicted time was near. But once he had done his part, his commitment to the light side would actively undermine the rest of the process. So it was the will of the Force that he should die, becoming the first Jedi to be killed by a Sith in 1,000 years. As later events proved, Qui-Gon was not wrong. Anakin was indeed the Chosen One, and years later was able to fulfill his destiny. At the moment when the Emperor was mercilessly torturing Luke with Force lightning, the Jedi who had fallen to the dark side awakened to compassion and love for his son. After this, Anakin, deeply buried within Vader, finally prevailed and rose up against his Dark Master, killing him with the force of his own life. In doing so, he restored balance to the Force, destroying both himself and his Sith Master, Darth Sidious. Thus the prophecy was fulfilled, and Anakin Skywalker himself joined Kenobi and Yoda as a Force ghost.